Alonzo Nunez. Welcome to the LSB podcast. Welcome back, I should say, in our new studio here. You are the longest running podcast guest. I was thinking about this when I just got home, taking a shower. It all started with you, dude, 2017. And if I would have known when we were tucked away in an old high voltage electric building over 5 years ago that this podcast would still be going in 5 years and that I'd be podcasting with one of my heroes in the podcasting world, the Duncan Trussell, tomorrow, I wouldn't have believed it. So it's pretty fucking cool. And I appreciate you coming through to be on the podcast.
Right on, yeah. Appreciate you inviting me. A little warm up for the
big show tomorrow.
It's a big show, yeah.
It is. And it's a show that wouldn't have happened without your help. So maybe we could start there. That fateful night, September 25th in San Francisco, going to see Duncan Trussell for the first time. It was my first time seeing him live. What was running through your mind walking outside of that show that eventually led to us talking to him?
Oh man, we were in line and he had kind of poked his head out that window. And I said hi and said a couple things to everybody in line. And
when we were getting
I remember
ready
that
to go
beforehand,
outside.
yeah. So we came out, said, okay, why not? Let's give it a shot. It's tall enough to tap the window.
Which I wasn't.
Yeah. So this is all you, man. This is you're doing. I just like I said before, I was just an extended arm for you.
Yeah.
If you could have a longer arm and we're a little taller, that was me for you. So
yeah. So we're making it happen. So again, thank you for reaching up and tapping that window, giving me the chance to have one of my dreams come true and talk with Duncan Trussell tomorrow. And thank you for coming through today so we can do a little warm up so I get my podcasting chops going. So another place we're starting would be, we had a pretty long day leading up to this point.
It's productive, yeah.
It's a good, long, productive day.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 10:30 at night. We just came from a 6-mile hike at Mission Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're the guest, I'll let you explain what that hike means to you in general, that we try to do once a week,
mm-hmm.
and how you felt tonight. And while you talk, I'm going to pour us some Buffalo Trace.
Nice.
You got to do it on video always.
Mm-hmm. So the Mission Peak hike, something that I started in the beginning of the year, and if the viewers have seen my previous podcast with you, it was just a way to prepare myself for a trip that I was planning on taking, and it was the Annapurna Circuit and base camp in Nepal. And it's something that I wanted to do, almost like a milestone before I turned 30.
Yep.
Right? It was kind of a thing for me, and be physically, emotionally, mentally challenged that way. And it was nearby. I live nearby, and the elevation is about 2,000. It's 3 miles up, 3 miles down. It's pretty steep. It's a good workout, you would say, right? It's pretty.
Yeah, man.
It can get demanding
it's
sometimes.
Over 2,000 foot climb in 3 miles.
Yeah.
It's up almost the whole time.
Yeah. So when I prepared for Nepal, I mean, there's no preparing completely for the oxygen level,
Yeah, the elevation.
and all that good stuff. Yeah, and then the true elevation over there where we start and where we're gonna have the peak over there. But the peak, I think, was like 18,000 feet. And to give some perspective, I think Mount Everest is like 27 or 28, I think. You know, so I mean, it's a big difference, but it was a way for me to prepare and just practice, and it's just kind of stuck, and been doing that. And
You got back from Nepal when this year?
Late May.
Late
right?
May.
Yeah, early June. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So spent most of May out there.
out there
doing the
at Mission Peak.
vegetarian thing and hiking, and it was probably one of the most physically demanding, emotionally, mentally kind of thing that I've had to do, and it was challenging, and it was super rewarding. One of the most rewarding trips I think I've been on. And
we got into it big time last time. If people want to hear more about that trip, it was the last Dream Talking episode, number 34, if I'm not mistaken. But since we're on camera this time and we're talking about Nepal, let's talk about this. Where you got that?
Oh yeah, that was a gift to you, buddy.
Yeah. Cheers.
That was from cheers. Thank you. That's from the mountain over there.
And this is a dude that paints them, right? Like up there in the mountains?
This one here, I think, was from Kathmandu. I don't remember. We bought a few. This one might have been Kathmandu or one of the little villages there, coming down from the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, not towards the peak, but
it's pretty
down
badass.
below.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So we just hit Mission Peak today. Did the entire hike in the dark.
And it was, make sure it gets dark at 5.
Yeah. Did the entire what did I say last week when we got up there and it was raining? It's lonely on top because there's not a lot of people out there hiking.
Mm-hmm.
We were damn near the only ones going up at that time, and that's something that I really appreciate about our friendship, our relationship, is that you're one of the people in my life that if I wanna bitch out, if I wanna say not today, you kind of push me, and I sort of push you, and that's a reason that we've continued to do that hike, even though it's getting dark and cold, and we have excuses not to. And can you talk a little bit? I know how I feel. Can you talk a little bit about what it feels like to hit the peak?
It's rewarding every time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's demanding. It's some days are easier than others. I don't know. It's just, and then feel like towards the end you're really hustling to get up to the top, and then you hit the top, and all of a sudden it's just, it's like, what was all the huffing and puffing for? It's
peaceful.
It's peaceful up there.
The contrast between the hard work and then you get up there and you got the view, and it's so quiet. It's very rewarding, dude. It's up there.
Actually, let's put these out. This is kind of our little thing, right?
By Body Armor.
Yeah.
Because when we hit the peak, this is our reward.
That's our little treat for hitting the top.
Yeah, and that last mile when it's fucking straight up, you're just thinking, that Body Armor is gonna taste so good when we get up there.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's it, buddy. Little rewards.
Yeah.
Self-discipline. I don't know. Been on this pretty good for a while. I mean, with the fasting for Ramadan.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not, I'm not Muslim, but I got buddies that are and encouraging me to do it, and more than happy to do it and participate. And I think it's super healthy, and I've been on that for a while now. So now fasting is throughout the day is kind of the norm.
Yeah.
Right. We're both kind of on that where we wait and we kind of earn. I don't know, earn is the right word, but wait till the end of the day. You have a productive day. And you have a meal. That's really all you need. And you don't need to overindulge and stuff. And it's kind of what you and me have both been on, and what we agree. And I think that's why we get along. One of the reasons we get along pretty well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it all sort of started with Ramadan, which was in April, I think. Is that when it is? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember having a conversation with you and you saying, "Hey man, I'm thinking about doing Ramadan," and neither of us had really seriously fasted before that. It was here and there. Just it would sort of happen by accident. Like, oh shit, I didn't eat all day today. But to intentionally say, no, I'm not going to eat till the sun goes down for a month, basically, right? It's like damn near 30 days.
Yeah, that's more intense. Because you can't drink either.
Yeah. Which
no, like
I
chewing
didn't do.
gum.
I drank water, but I didn't drink the water either. You took it even further.
No, I went by their rules.
By the true Muslim rules, yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure. I mean, they have the prayer and everything, but they start at a certain time. But I don't know. It was fun. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool about it to me was you approached it as an experiment. We both did, and let's just see what happens, and you did learn something about yourself because it did change your relationship to food, and then it seems like it's changed in general what we talk about often, our relationship to indulgements and pleasure and all of that, right?
Instant gratification,
gratification.
satisfaction of just when you want it, you want it then and now, and that. I mean, that really hasn't ever been my thing, but I mean, we all know what it is to
indulge.
Yeah, indulge and not really carry out the discipline that we should all be practicing.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the lifestyle. Like there is no other lifestyle. This is the way to go. Is to practice the self-control and find reward in small things, and I don't know, try to have a productive day every day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something, right?
Another thing
Experience
that you've talked about as an example, abstaining or fasting from food. You can abstain and fast from a lot of things: drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever. But abstaining from food, fasting from food for the majority of the day, and you eat a meal after your workout or after the hike, and I've noticed this as well, frees up so much of your mind in a way, right? So when you're in the indulging mode, when it gets to be lunchtime, you start going, man, what would taste good today? What can I indulge in today, right? When you're in the normal status quo mindset, man, ramen would be really good, or a burrito, or this or that. And like you were saying, going the other way of, quote, earning the meal, maybe you will indulge with that one meal, but you're even less likely to, because you go, man, right? I've spent this entire day, I've lived healthfully as best as I could, and I worked my ass off hiking, or you often run the lake here in Oakland, Lake Merritt, that's 3 miles, or I'll go to yoga or go and lift weights or whatever, and then to indulge after that, it feels like, what am I doing? Like I'm wasting all this effort.
Consciously spent your day practicing this from abstaining, right? And then to just, I spent most of the day abstaining. Why not have this and have that and a burrito or whatever it is I want, or hamburger, and then there's tons of food you could name, but really the relationship with food should be, I mean, for me, and then I feel like for you too, right, is what we agree on, is that it's supplemental, that it's there's more to it than just eating. What's it gonna do for our body tomorrow?
Yes, exactly. How's this gonna make me feel fucking an hour from now? How's it gonna make me feel tomorrow? What's the and that doesn't mean that you don't indulge too. Like there are times when it's time to fucking have at it,
but guilt free. If you're gonna do it, just do it.
Just fucking no rules. But you gotta space those out, because you end up in a spot where you're having one of those every day, and then all of a sudden it's like a drug. You're chasing a high that you're not gonna get. It's really cool, man. I didn't plan on talking about this, but it feels like the next natural transition. Speaking of living a more disciplined lifestyle, and allowing space in your life to take care of responsibilities, you have a big life change coming up in your life.
My baby.
Your baby that's on the way. What's the due date?
April 24th.
April 24th.
23 had my first baby.
Your first baby, first little Alonzo Nunez
As
Jr.
my buddy put it yesterday. Inshallah, right?
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty nice, but
Yeah.
God willing is basically what it
God
is.
willing,
Mhm.
you may have very likely will be having an heir
Mhm.
in April.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
How-
like a fly trap, man. I don't think it's going anywhere. Oh, right.
How does that change the way that you approach your day-to-day life and discipline? When you knew that the baby was on the way, what happened in your inner world? Did you notice any sort of a change?
I don't know if it's an odd thing to say. No, I don't.
Yeah,
It didn't.
As I was asking that, I was thinking the real change I remember was once the babies were here.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll wait for that day to come. We're even waiting. It's funny because we're talking about self-discipline. I'm even, so my girl, and then she's had 2 girls from her previous relationship.
Yeah.
So two stepchildren, right? Or 2 children, 2 girls, and they want to know the gender, but I'm set on waiting till the baby's born to find the gender.
Which is so freaking cool.
And I've explained to them it's to practice this.
Mm.
Like, I want to give them everything, and I will, but it comes with, I want to, the same principles and virtues that I practice, I want them to know that this is a lifestyle that I choose, and that I want them to be aware. And if they choose to do so when they get older and they grow up seeing me do this and maybe practice this, then they will when they become adults,
Yeah.
And so I'm helping them. This is one way I'm kind of having them practice self-control.
Self-control,
Yes,
delaying
we want to know the gender.
gratification.
Let's have a gender reveal and so on and so forth. But I want them to wait. They really want it, and for them to really want it and to wait to have it I think this is a good way for them to practice this.
That's awesome.
So we're waiting to.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wonder what the percentage of people are that do that, because it's got to be pretty small. Because I was thinking as you were saying that, and thinking of your daughters, your stepdaughters that are really your daughters, they live in a world now. They live in a generation where everything's instant, right? TikTok, right away. Entertain me. It's right there. As soon as I want it, it's there. Amazon Prime. I want to order something. It's there the same day or the next day. Everything's this instant gratification. I know I'm not breaking any new ground. Everybody talks about this, but it's such a given of like. You can know the gender after, I don't know how many months it is, like 5 or 6 months, right? They can.
No, like 3.
Yeah, you can be pretty damn sure after
3
about
and a half.
3.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago we could have found out.
Yeah.
She's 4 months now.
So you can know. You can pick up the phone and swipe and entertain yourself with, oh, it's a boy, or oh, it's a girl, and to purposefully delay that and say, no, we're gonna do it the more natural way. And that our ancestors did for
Sure.
many generations, where you find out when the baby comes out. And I think that's very cool, very commendable, and I like that you're looking at it as an opportunity to teach them something about that, and they might feel a certain type of way about it today, but maybe in time when they do have the excitement of finding out the gender the day of and meeting their little brother or sister, it'll instill something in them of, oh, there may be something to this, delaying the gratification and living in a more natural way. Yeah, that's really cool, man. I like that a lot. Okay, well, since this podcast is leaning more stoic, the last one we talked about Nepal, which I guess really leans into it's funny because it leans into the Buddhist side, but also leans a lot into the Stoic side because of the lessons you learned when you were out there. It just makes me think of, the one thing when I think about you being in Nepal is you saying it was so challenging that all you could do was focus on the next step.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Can you tell a little bit of that story, like when that thought would come into your mind and what it was like being out there?
Yeah, the longest days I think were something around like 26 miles.
Damn. 26 miles in a day?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah,
That's a lot of walking,
there
man.
were a couple days like that, and then the average was anywhere from, the shorter days were 8, maybe 8.
But with a lot of
10.
elevation climb, or?
There's always elevation, and then midway, and then we started dropping back down, right, and then doing the actual base camp where we walk up to the base of the mountain. Before we didn't climb the Annapurna, but anybody that were to climb the Annapurna Mountain, that's where you would start the base camp, right? Same for Everest, base camp there. But yeah, so there's some long days, and I remember we'd see way over a little purple building or a little gold, anything, some kind of indication of something way off in the distance other than just the mountain. And our guide would say, okay, we're gonna walk to that, and then 8 kilometers to the left around that mountain. And it seemed like
there's no way.
It seemed like it's so
doing
far.
that in a day,
It's so far, but
yeah.
And then other days we didn't see our destination. We couldn't see our destination, but we would just walk and walk and walk, and you'd be in an elevation and the oxygen level and everything going on. And then our bags, right? There's just times where you would just anything going on over here is the way I could put it, is anything and everything going on over here. Yeah. There was no room for that while you were walking. You just had to focus on your next step, is getting to your destination. Go after this, we get a shower, not always a hot shower, but a shower. You clean yourself off, get some food in your stomach, and
just the basics.
Then just let it all the vibrations of the day, your body just relax, and you just and then that tomorrow you're doing it again, and it was that way for a while, and it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm super into it, and I want to continue doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having the baby soon, so but give it some time, and I think that's how I'd want to spend my vacations, and then of course the vacations with the kids, and at a beach somewhere. I don't know,
Yeah.
beachside. But I try to get them into doing it. We've done parts of Mission Peak with the girls, and then other little hikes and stuff.
Tough
So yeah, it's tough, yeah. But I try to expose that to them to that, and it's just something I think I've fallen in love with. Right, that's something that I want to implement for the rest of my life is trekking and long distance hiking, and just challenging myself, I guess, is really what it boils down to, doing new things.
Yeah, it's really cool, dude. I've talked with you about this before. In the job we work in, the industry we work in, it's, again, a very small percentage of people that you can explain that to them and then even understand, like, wait, this is what you do with your vacation time?
Right.
Like, we often have joked about, so many guys and girls are like, a vacation is, the Sandals Resort,
Right.
with the all-you-can-drink margaritas and, all-you-can-eat buffet and poolside and, like,
tourist stuff. Yeah.
right, and it's funny to watch the look on their face. They look like, when you fake a dog out throwing a tennis ball, they're like, wait, why do you purposely put yourself through this? And I think it's a testament to what we often talk about, that what you think is going to, quote, make you happy, what you think is going to bring you peace, is going to be a never-ending pit. There's never enough food to ever feel that fully satiated. There's never enough martinis. There's never enough poolside pictures that you can throw up on Instagram that's going to eventually fill in that hole. Like, we're made to work, to do stuff, to explore. This is Jordan Peterson talks about all the time. Everyone, particularly men, are built to carry a load. You're built to take on responsibility, for yourself and for other people. And when you don't have enough of a load, it's actually bad for you. It actually makes your soul weak, and it makes you, like, not be able to respect yourself, right? And it's so cool that we live in a time where we're not like our ancestors. We can have food delivered to our door. We don't have to step outside. We don't have to, in the era of dating apps and stuff, you don't have to go and like be the guy that goes and walks up to the beautiful woman and takes the shot at rejection, of hey, I think you're pretty, da-da-da, and her saying, get lost, loser. We have dating apps now. You can swipe and you swipe and you swipe. So everything's being sheltered down to where like we don't have to face challenges. And so we now live in a time, this is the modern, Stoic movement, Ryan Holiday's leading, and a lot of people a lot of young men are getting into it. Like, you have to find your own challenge in life. You have to find your own way to pick up a load and stuff. And it's just cool to see that not everybody fell for the trap and is hypnotized. Like, no, with my vacation time, I'm going to go out and see the world and challenge myself and hike and get in that space where all I can focus on is the next step and getting through this. Because on the other side of that, I'm learning something about myself that, other people.
It's great. It's
amazing. It's fucking good stuff, man.
It's amazing, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Really good stuff. So, screw it, man.
The beach side is still,
Yeah, you got to have that too.
You gotta.
We live in a world where you got beautiful views and beachside, and I'm going to Hawaii in a few months. Yeah. No, I know. You got to have both. It's the same as the food. You don't want to indulge every day, but I mean, it'd be a pretty sad life to not ever indulge, not ever say fuck it and go to the all-you-can-eat buffet.
I'm sure there's some people that opt out.
There are.
Just get hardcore.
Yeah. It's
all the time.
That's their own trip.
All day.
Yeah, that's their trip. It's not my trip. I gotta have some balance.
Yeah. Ours, I think that what we do is, for us, I think it's sustainable. It's with longevity. It's a marathon. And if we can implement certain things, in our day to day, like fasting and hiking in the cold, up a mountain, and then the rewards of bowl of soup, hot bowl of soup that we normally do, or taking cold showers when it's cold out, instead of the warm shower. Man, that's what we're about. I think that's what we.
Yeah, well, it's telling your body and your instincts who's in charge. Like, hey, just because things get a little bit hard, you're not allowed to give up or run away or go hide. It's funny when you're talking about every now and then you do have to indulge. You do have to go to the beach side. You do have to have a drink. You do have to do the all-you-can-eat buffet. I've heard Joe Rogan say it a few times. I don't know where it came from, who originally said it, but everything in moderation, including moderation. Meaning, everything in moderation, and you can be too moderate too. You can be too middle way. Every now and then you gotta fucking stretch it out. You gotta, and you can be unmoderate with your non-moderation and fucking just be partying too much, doing fucking drugs 3 times a week or drinking until you pass out a couple times a week. But
partying every weekend.
Partying every weekend. But at the same time, you don't want to be too closed down to where you never go for it. And then there's people, obviously, there's a lot of Paul Hederman listeners here. There's guys who the answer is no, you never drink. You never have another sip of alcohol. But there's other ways to find adventure and excitement in your life way outside of just fucking drinking alcohol, right? So I really like the everything in moderation, including moderation. Sometimes you gotta just fucking go for it. Sometimes you gotta stay up all night and explore and have fun. So with that as a prime, we had a pretty fun night Saturday night.
The East Forest.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So East Forest. I'm talking to Duncan Trussell tomorrow. I first heard about East Forest on a Duncan Trussell podcast. And he is a bad motherfucker. But since you're the guest, talk to me about how you feel about East Forest, and we'll get into the music ceremony we went to Saturday night. Yeah.
You actually introduced me to his music. it's funny. About a year ago,
Yeah.
we were doing some mushrooms. What are
Mushrooms.
they?
Psilocybin mushrooms.
Psilocybin, right?
Yeah.
Mushrooms that that we both love doing in moderation. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm an advocate for it too. I mean, it's not a secret. My family, everybody, it's just people that know me know that that I use it as a healthy tool, and it's great. It's great
It's a
for you.
great teacher.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
You use it correctly for sure. And we were just getting off the trip, I think, and then headed home, and I think we had like maybe some residual, whatever.
This is a year ago.
Yeah.
And this was in
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz in the Redwoods.
Right. I forgot what the
something basin. I don't remember the name.
Niches something.
Yeah,
I forgot
but it's
I can look it up, but
right off of right in Santa Cruz, off of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful fucking redwoods, so majestic, amazing place, and we ate a good amount of mushrooms and walked for 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of an end of the year. Let's do some kind of recap on stuff that's going on. I think we both.
That's the first time we tripped together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That first time you and I done it. And I think you and I have done it. I've been doing it since I was like 15.
Yeah.
I've been doing it.
Yeah. I think 18, 19 the first time I did it.
Yeah, I was doing it a lot when I was younger, but and then we played Toad Lick. I remember the song. I remember listening to it. I was like, man, this sounds like people are so happy. It's just what is the problem with anything, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I showed my girls this, little girls this song, and I didn't tell them really anything
About the mushroom side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I didn't. No, but I mean, they've heard me talk about it, but I played it for them. I was like, hey girls, tell me what you, and I played a few of the songs. I was like, hey girls, tell me what you, made a little game for them. I want you to listen to the song and tell me how you feel, right? With the girls, and they each had their little piece. One was more descriptive than the other, but they agreed. I played the Toad Lick and Sitting by the Fire and a couple other songs, and it's great. And then just Saturday we did psilocybin, right? Mushrooms, and we went
almost
to
a year later.
Yeah, about a year later, and we've seen them in person. The musical ceremony in Santa Cruz, so it made a whole
full circle.
Full circle.
And that was the only 2 times I've been in Santa Cruz. Was
right.
In the last couple of years, was to go and hike and trip on mushrooms, and then East Forest, who we listened to during that trip.
Yeah. It was nothing. I don't think we took. Either we didn't take enough, or it's just we're just so used to it. It wasn't anything like transcending for me, but it was. I mean, it was a great experience, a beautiful place to be. You kind of melt in your seat with it, and kind of watch this guy and listen to the music and the different instruments and stuff he plays, and it was great. I'd do it again for sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to go see him again.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I would too. And it was again not the kind of thing I'm trying to do every weekend, not even once a month or whatever, but very reliably when I take psilocybin, whether it's at a live music thing like that, if it's hiking in the woods, it always teaches me something. It always shows me something about my life, and I'm glad we did it. And like we talked about, you got a baby on the way, you're going through some life transitions, you're going to be moving and stuff like that, and there's people out there that when they're going through things, they're afraid of psychedelics because they think it's going to destabilize them or scare them, because they're sort of. So I always respect somebody that's brave enough to say, no, I'm going to go and face it.
Yeah, no, it's not something you force upon.
Yeah.
It's not too chicken to try it out. Stop.
Yeah.
Wussing out. It's not. That's not what it's for. It demands more respect, and
Yes, you gotta respect those fuckers. Yeah, it was really cool, man. And then we had a little bit of an adventure even after the concert ended.
Walking around the coffee shop.
The coffee shop. So we walk outside. The concert was 2 hours, so we were maybe 2 hours and some change into the trip. We knew that there was still some trip left, And I don't know Santa Cruz. I don't know if I've ever hung out in that part of Santa Cruz, downtown. I've been to the boardwalk, for sure. But so we were walking around downtown Santa Cruz, 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Not peaking on mushrooms. I wasn't having any visuals at that point, but I was still feeling it. My mind was still pretty expanded. And we both said, we need some coffee, right? Because we need to drive home. We were still many hours from driving home, but let's get some coffee. It's been a long day. So we look on Yelp and we find there's a cafe a few blocks away.
Right.
And it's a hammock cafe.
Right.
And if you think that sounds weird, it is fucking weird. Because we end up going and finding it. And we walk inside, and there's a shitload of hammocks all over the place. And the place was fucking like a little demonic. Yeah? Would you agree?
Yeah, they had some goth theme.
Some goth theme.
Yeah, goth theme to their place.
All younger girls.
Yeah.
With like crazy makeup wearing devil.
Yeah, and then the menu had some crazy stuff on it. I think she said, well, you can have this and it'll make you higher. And we was like, dude, we just want a plain black cup of coffee.
Give us some coffee.
Yeah. And it sounded too boring. They didn't, at first I don't think it registered. And they're like, you sure it was?
They didn't have coffee. Everything had something else in it.
Right.
They were like, I guess we
some
could
elixirs, they called it, yeah.
Elixirs, yeah. They were like potions and shit. Coming in these little glass bottles and everything. And finally she said, well, we'll just make you an Americano and just not put anything else in there. And we go and sit down on the couch, looking around this place. There was like paintings of like demons and shit. It seemed like crying girls.
You said the tarot cards.
Tarot cards, that was it. Yeah, tarot cards, but very evil-looking tarot cards. The place looked like it was decorated for Halloween, but we're past Halloween.
Right.
And there was a bunch of people sitting in hammocks, drinking elixirs.
Yeah, on Saturday night.
The elixirs, non-alcoholic. This is like, there was like dandelion and a bunch of crap in there. And we were sitting there, still high on mushrooms, looking at each other going, dude, there's people that come to this place sober on a Saturday night. We couldn't fucking get over how funny that was. That we're over here tripping, trying to just get some coffee, and all these people were sitting around drinking their potions, hanging out in hammocks. And it felt like the coffee took a fucking year, but it probably took 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
No.
It was fucking slow.
No, we weren't that. The trip was already on downward slope, so it wasn't our perception of time.
Yeah,
it wasn't that off, but it was a while.
It was a while. We kept looking at each other like.
Yeah, it felt like we were held hostage in there, and we were forced to look at their
demonic tarot cards.
cafe.
Yeah. We eventually got the coffee, and finally got the hell out of there. Yeah, it's a good night. We had some more adventures after that, but really, since this is the Laughing Stoic Buddha podcast, just wanted to get a little take on. I mean, you're my co-producer, like I said, in this Laughing Stoic Buddha project, and it takes both sides. It takes the Stoic side. It takes hiking, Mission Peak, and frigid cold weather in the dark, 6-mile hike to get that to earn that warm bowl of soup. But it also takes tripping on mushrooms every now and then and going inside and seeing that we're all connected. I mean, that's one of the messages that comes through for me.
Right. The awareness, say a bunch of words, right? But
yeah, the
just
awareness.
the release of holding on to. I don't know. Who knows? There's tons of ways we can phrase this, right? But
yeah.
I don't know. I think Paul is a pretty good teacher in all this, and he says some pretty cool things. Like my favorite so far, I think the one that stuck the most is using action figure.
Yeah.
Since I heard that, I use that we use that on a regular basis to kind of, describe
Differentiate.
the two. Yeah, when we're talking, we conversate. I got some action figure stuff for you, and it's kind of, I think other people use worldly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's what other people use, right?
Yeah.
So it's just similar, where I got some action figure stuff for you, and then we talk about, I don't know, baby stuff, relationships, money, work, anything,
responsibility.
Yeah. It's everything, anything. And then there's the deeper talks that we have of nothingness is the next best thing I think that we could describe this all, right?
Yeah.
Is to be okay with the nothingness, the emptiness of it all.
Yeah, and part of that, so on the action figure level, there is stuff to do. There's business to take care of. There's, you can do a worse or better job at something. You do a worse or better job at, your career, making money, saving money, investing, raising your children with the proper values and spending your time properly. You can do better or worse at all that stuff at action figure level. At the, I'll say non-dual level, or at the emptiness level, there's an awareness that it's all gonna pass, right? We said something the other night about it's all gonna go back to zero, right? And I think the goal, and that's part of, like, when I say Laughing Stoic Buddha, the hybrid of all of it is not falling into either trap. You can fall completely into the action figure trap of this game is all that matters, and I'm going to try to rack up the most points, and points come in money, status, property, whatever, like popularity, right, and all those things. And part of getting wrapped up in that game is you think the only thing that matters is the game, and you forget this piece, memento mori, that you're gonna die, and then all those points you accumulate are gonna be useless. They're gonna go to zero, right? And not even just because you're gonna die, like when you're sitting quietly alone with yourself, or God forbid you take mushrooms or something, you really have to sit and examine yourself. You're gonna see that, oh shit, the shit that I'm completely wrapped up in, believing that it's money, property, status, popularity, is not delivering at a deeper level. Like, it feels empty because it is
You're racking up
empty.
points in World of Warcraft, dude. That was just because you're gonna podcast tomorrow.
That's in Duncan Trussell.
That was
Why?
Yeah, it's like episode.
Yeah.
Midnight Gospel.
Uh-huh.
That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. And so that's a case where it's really good to have an awareness of something greater, right? Now, you can lean too far, I would say, and I don't hear too many people really that know deeply the non-dual Buddhist side of things making this argument. You can lean too far the other way, that the points don't matter in the end, ultimately, so don't play the game at all, right? And you become right? The stereotype would be a hippie stoner guy that doesn't get off his couch and eats fucking Cheetos and whatever. But I've seen in spiritual communities people just say, well, I'm already perfect the way I am. I'm going to give up the game. I'm going to stop trying to score the points. And I feel like that's disrespectful to the time you're given. The action figure is given, right? And that's something that came up for me when I got jumped, fucking looked down the barrel of a gun, got past that shit. I remember as I was re-examining my life, and I did a mushroom trip a few days afterwards, I remember feeling the preciousness of time in a way I'd never felt it before. Of like, dude, you get however many years you get, You know, it could have, for me, it could have fucking ended. And it could end for any of us. Every day we drive to work, we drive, you know, to see our families, whatever. It could end.
The DMV. Huh?
We could get into that. I'm going to make you explain the DMV.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I just to wrap up this point, as I said, you're an ambassador and a co-producer of this project, of the podcast from the beginning and of the LSB project, because you get both worlds. You get the Buddhist side, the fact that it is all a game, and you know, we're actually already perfect in this moment, and this moment is all we ever have. But you don't allow that to corrupt the Stoic side, the action figure side of, no, you want to do your best with the time that you are given, and you want to do good work, and you want to be of service.
Handle your shit.
And
so
handle
my shit.
You want to handle your shit so that other people can handle their shit,
Right.
and we can grow as a humanity. Now, with that as a base, this is something you've talked about a couple of times. We were talking about it on the way down from Mission Peak. Talk about your DMV analogy. That life is like going to the DMV.
Yeah. I don't know. You go to the DMV and there's different numbers and letters, right, for
G24,
which are there for, right? Yeah, if
yeah.
it's to renew a license or to get your license, or I don't know,
registration,
whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, it's an analogy for the events that happen in our life. You don't know what you're gonna get, and you know, you want me to use the word I use for you?
Yeah, let's do it, yeah.
So yours is CG, what was it, 924, 925,
yeah.
925.22, and that's just the cold joke around now, but you know, the cold end of a gun.
The cold
you got,
end of a gun.
Jumped and stuff most recently, and and it was the date, and you know, it's just a little play at it, and that's for anybody, you know.
My number got called.
You lose a parent.
Yeah.
You lose a parent tragically. You lose a sibling. I don't know,
cancer diagnosis.
Everything. Death, near death.
Yeah.
All the different ways you could die and nearly die, and then everything in between. I don't know. And then all the great things. You know, you got a new job, or you got a new car, you start a new relationship. Everything in between. It's just cards and just numbers that, you know, your number gets called for certain things, and I don't know, you don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have some control over some things, but the unfolding and events of life, I believe it's already written, right? It's already gonna happen. What's gonna happen?
Yeah. And we don't know when our number's going to be called, or what numbers are going to be called.
Yeah, on an action figure level, we believe we can control some things. You know, if I go out and commit a crime, then, you know, in front of a police officer, then I'm going to, you know, you go to jail. There's certain things you can prevent and not do, but in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
Big picture stuff, it's already written. It's already going to happen. What's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah. It's like fate.
To release and to allow and to understand. That is big.
Yeah, it reminds me of an article I wrote recently that you gave me the title for. I gave you credit in the article for it. The Fortune of Misfortune, right? I remember you saying something about that, or you should write an article called The Fortune of Misfortune, and I did. I gave you credit. And there's all these great Stoic quotes. I think I wrote into Google Stoic quotes about misfortune, and they're just flooded with all this really good stuff, of particularly Seneca. Seneca's got a lot of good thoughts on it, of where he says, I count somebody as misfortunate that has never, in your analogy, had the DMV number called of something really bad, of misfortunate, right. Quote, misfortunate, of the number that got called for me, cold handle of a fucking gun in the streets of Oakland at 2 a.m.
Right.
Number that got called for you at a very young age, losing your dad.
Well, yeah,
You know?
multiple things for everybody.
Yeah,
Just
and
a list of things.
everybody's got their thing, right? And if you have these misfortunes, if your number's called, you're able to learn something about yourself that, oh shit, this thing that I thought would end me, that would, take me out, didn't. I survived. So I must be a little bit stronger and a little bit more durable than I thought I was. And with time, like so much of Stoicism, so much of what I read from Marcus Aurelius directly and what I read of Ryan Holiday's curation and interpretation of it is it's all the obstacle is the way. It's all turning your brain from being able to see what's a bad event or what's an unfortunate event or what's bad luck as a gift, because this is a chance for me to fucking prove to myself and prove to the world that I can survive this and I can come out the other end stronger, right? And so I think getting back to your analogy, the goal is when your number's called to like accept it with open arms. I think it's Friedrich Nietzsche had the line amor fati, which is Latin, which translates to a love of fate. And it's not an acceptance of fate, it's a love of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like loving the fact that you got beat near death, or that you had that near death experience and almost drowned. Like not so the default is feeling bad for yourself and like a victim, right? So that's fucking not going to serve you at all.
Near death experiences. Like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
Like, why'd this have to happen to me?
Like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after,
The second level is like, okay, you accepted it, right? It happened and it's okay, it's whatever. But I think amor fati is like the ultimate level of loving it, like loving this misfortune, loving this thing that happened, because it's making you who you are, right? And that's I don't have the coin, but Ryan made a coin with amor fati and it's got fire on it. And the idea is whatever you throw into a fire, it makes the fire bigger. And we are the fire. I think Marcus Aurelius has a line like that. Something about whatever is thrown into the fire, it's fuel, it makes it fucking bigger. So something that you think is going to take you out, right? Like a tragedy, like a unexpected disaster, actually is fuel to turn you on, to make you even stronger, to make you able to take on more. So yeah, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just the love. Well, when I hear it, I think, though, in this, for the sake of our conversation, it's the love of the misfortune. But I think overall, amor fati is, for me, is the love of experiencing, right? Like
very good.
I don't know where I heard it, but it's, would you rather? I think it was actually Meditations. Would you rather? What were you born for, right? Would you rather sit at home every day and be comfortable, and were you born to be comfortable, or were you born to go out and experience life, right? Experience whatever comes your way, right? And that's kind of what that, at least that's what that means to me, is that the love of experiencing whatever.
Yeah, that's really good.
Right? It's good today. And
I just read today Viktor Frankl. I've been quoting him in the articles a lot. He's the guy that survived the Nazi concentration camp, and he was a psychologist. He wrote a book. His most famous book was A Man's Search for Meaning, which is about surviving, the worst tragedy imaginable, losing his entire family and being treated less than human in a Nazi concentration camp and surviving it. And his whole point was of his philosophy, and what he wrote about was everything can be taken from you except for your ability to, your last freedom, which is to choose what things mean, to choose your attitude, right? And this is not some philosopher sitting in a fucking college, coming up with this. This is a guy that faced the worst fate imaginable, right? And he said when he was there starving to death, when he was there, grieving the loss of his family, he realized everything was taken from him except for his internal ability to choose, his attitude, to choose what this meant, right? And you're talking about, Marcus really saying, are you made to be warm and comfortable under the covers, or are you made to do the work of a human being, to go out and experience and struggle and grow and strive? Viktor Frankl, I won't have the exact quote memorized, but it was something along the lines of, most men think that the goal in life is a tension-free, relaxed state. That's the all-you-can-drink margaritas on the poolside, right, or on the beach. Actually, the goal of life is to struggle and work towards a goal that's worthy of your time, right? And
right on.
yeah, and it's obviously a balance, all work and no play is no way to live, but that shift is, I think, the fundamental shift in Stoicism is that it's not about like, I'm gonna work my ass off so that I can retire and chill, and I can stare at the TV all day, or I can end up with the drink on the beach. I want to do work that makes a difference, that feeds my soul, that, and if that work is as simple as raising a family, right, that's worthy work. That's worth the struggle. That's worth the sacrifice. And
the way you want to spend your time.
The way you want to spend your time.
Spend your sentence.
You're doing time here on Earth as an action figure, right? Somewhere between, for most people, 25 and 90 years or so. And so, what are you going to do with that time? Are you going
to carry out this sentence? What do you want to do?
Yeah, you can either spend it resenting work and struggle and trying to find, comfort, or you can embrace the work and struggle and put it towards something worthy. I mean, either way, in the end, it does all go to zero. It's not like you're going to be rewarded. Right. I believe. I don't think that there's any sort of rewards in heaven or anything like that. I think you always come back to zero.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Do you live your life as if you're going to be judged in an afterlife?
I don't know. I don't necessarily about an afterlife. Who could really confirm that? But I think I do believe that your actions, even though it boils down to nothingness, right, emptiness at the end, and I do think our actions here on Earth as our action figures are meat suits. I don't know who else said that, but
I've heard Duncan say it.
Has he?
I don't know who started it though.
In our astronauts? No.
That's a Duncan one.
Yeah, I think that was him. I think that does carry on to the people around you. So almost like
in that way you do.
Yeah, almost like Indra's. The way I've tried to explain it to my girlfriend is an easy one. I think a lot of people are familiar with. Maybe not. I don't know. The Indra's net, right, where the dews on the web and the many dews on that on the reflection, right, or reflections of hundreds of whatever of other dews, and then those are right. So your dew and us being, the dew being the action figure or meat suit, right, is it's a reflection of, and it affects those around us, right? And I think that our actions do affect those around us, and then their actions affect those around them, and then so on and so forth until for everybody, and it affects everybody in anything. And so maybe not judged in an afterlife, but our actions here as action figures, I think, do carry on
and continue to
other
affect.
action figures later on.
Yeah,
while
even
we go back to
death.
while we go back to
whatever the next
who
dimension.
Who knows? Yeah. I don't know.
Very nice, man. Very good answer. Surprised me with that one. That was really good. I think we're at an hour. That was good. That went quick. I'll finish. I'm going to give you a hard question, but this might be a good question to finish with. Because we were talking about Viktor Frankl, it made me think.
Finish? Already?
We're an hour in.
Hour?
It's good.
It's a solid hour.
That was a good, solid hour, man.
Let's move. Yeah, wait, quick.
We covered some really good ground.
Yeah.
speaking of Viktor Frankl, he has this question. He has this way of framing this question, which I think is really good. A lot of people ask, what's the meaning of life, right? And that question to me is the wrong way to think about it. Because when we say what's the meaning of life, we think that there is a meaning out there, right? This thing that's a meaning. And we have to go find the meaning of life. And that to me just, it's not a useful question. It doesn't get our minds thinking or acting in the right direction. So Viktor Frankl, again, the psychologist that survived the Nazi concentration camp, said actually life is asking us what meaning we're going to make out of it, right? So life gives you, going back to the DMV analogy, it gives you G34, here it is.
What day is it today? 11:15. Mission Peak.
Yeah. And, for example, Duncan Trussell got a cancer diagnosis like 10 years ago. And testicular cancer. He lost the ball, right? That was the number that got called for him. You know, his mom died young, relatively young, from cancer. That was the number that got called for her. When your number is called, instead of saying, what's the meaning of life? Because you go, life is meaningless. I tried to do the right thing. I lived by the code of the Bible or whatever my parents gave me or whatever, and I still got cancer, or I still got jumped, or I still got, some sort of tragedy.
Lost my job,
right?
Yeah, can't get out of this.
Actually, life is giving you this and saying, what meaning are you going to make from it?
Okay.
Right? So it's a very small shift that's very empowering to me, is not what is the meaning of life, but what meaning do you give to your life and the things that happen? So I know it's a tough one to finish with, but what meaning do you give to your life here today, 30-year-old Alonzo? Where do you find meaning?
Where do I find meaning?
What in your life invokes a feeling of, this is more than just accumulating the numbers in the World of Warcraft game, in the action figure game, but this is something more. This is something that speaks to my soul, to give you a few hints. It can be family related. It can be, things that transcend, that get you outside of your usual day-to-day state of mind.
I don't know, man. Day to day, it's, we talk often, so the thoughts that get recycled in my head.
Let's go into the recycled thoughts a little bit, because you said that's a unique Alonzo phrase, and no, really, I've never heard anybody else say it, and I like it. I've actually used it myself. The recycled thoughts. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's just the things that are up front or at the forefront of your action figure mind, right?
Yeah.
Any thought being action figure thought, right? But it's just your thoughts that just,
Bills.
You wake up and you're maybe like me now. It's making sure I'm prepared, and really, we're making you're prepared for the baby, my baby that's coming, making sure everything's fine, making sure the girls are happy, making sure my girlfriend's healthy, she's carrying the baby, making sure she has everything she needs, and bills. How can I better establish myself financially? Yeah. It's just it's crazy. And then death. I always think about, I don't want to, I feel like, I don't know, it's not, maybe not right way to put it, but I don't want to get caught off guard, which you will, right? You don't know when it's coming, but somebody that you love, somebody around you that just passes away, how, if you don't think about it, I don't know, it's like, it's not that I obsess over it, it's just that I know it can happen, and it's I've seen, we're all accustomed, I think most of us are accustomed to somebody dying or death, and just these thoughts that just continuously, again, recycled
thoughts
that just come, and they're there often, this is what kind of we live in. And then when I talk to you, I kind of like kind of catch you up on my recycled thoughts, and
that's
then
normally how we start our conversation,
right? Recycled thoughts, and or like how to do better, and currently how to swap departments so I can, and then move in the department. What do I get from moving to this department? X, Y, and Z, and then that provides this, and that, and it's just a list of things that just happen every day, and you got to give yourself that break. Meditate, give yourself a second.
Yes.
Take a shower. Think of
that's what Mission Peak is.
Right. I think the one step at a time.
Yeah.
Doing these types of things.
Yeah.
To kind of purge that out for just a bit, because it's not going anywhere. But
no, it'll be back once you.
But
get back
just
down.
give it, just to kind of put something else in there.
Yeah.
That demands your attention. And what better than to breathe and walk, right? To fill your mind with, breathing and walking,
the basics.
Essentially, right, yeah.
Basics of being human.
You're not, it's the versus doing drugs or, those, the kind of drugs what kind of drugs I'm talking about. But
there's unhealthy ways to
alcohol,
try to get out of it.
It's tons of stuff, and I don't know, that's the piece on recycled thoughts though.
Yeah. No, I love that term, because the idea of recycled thoughts, to me, it's like you think about something once, some sort of responsibility, bills, budget, work, obligations, deadlines, whatever. And then theoretically you should be good. But the recycled thoughts, to me, speaks to, it comes up again.
Yeah.
Right?
What the fuck? Yeah.
What the fuck? I thought I handled you.
Yeah.
And then well, I guess there's more to work out, and you think it through, and maybe in the shower, maybe during your commute.
Yeah.
And then it comes up again, and it comes up a fourth time, and a fifth time, and a sixth time. And you start to go like, okay, I'm pretty damn sure I've worked this through. Why do you keep showing up?
Yeah.
And that's a part of just being human.
The day after, a couple days later.
Yeah.
It's just on and on and on.
And then kind of like when you have a headache and you don't never really notice the moment it goes away, you just sort of all of a sudden go, oh shit, my headache's gone, right? It's the same thing with recycled thoughts. One day you just go, shit, I haven't recycled that thought in a while. But sometimes it needs to have its time on the stage, and it might be a few weeks straight.
Yeah, like our walks, Nepal was a large, was in a bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Basically a whole month.
Yeah.
Almost a month, right, of that. And then I think most recently too was practicing for the test to get into this new department. That kind of took
a huge
priority over some other things,
so
and I hadn't thought exactly,
go.
and I had those got pushed back, and that's basically what I think everybody goes through, right? These recycled action figure thoughts. That, and of course I think on the first podcast we touched base on this on death, and then I think the big one for me is my loved ones dying, but especially for me was my mother's death. That would be my mom's death. She's my one parent, all I had, right, growing up. And I don't know, as the oldest sibling, we have a different relationship, and I don't know, it's a big one. And we don't need to get into, I mean, if we wanted, since you're podcasting tomorrow, his last episode on Midnight Gospel really resonated with me. All of them were good, but
Duncan Trussell and his mom.
That one, I don't care. I teared up some watching that. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It spoke to you
for sure.
personally.
Yeah, that's all I had, man. Was my mom. Yeah.
And you still have
younger
her.
siblings.
And you still have her.
Yeah, and I still have her. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Fortunately, Miss I don't know. We were talking about her. I don't know. I want to say misfortunately, and then we're like, oh shit, fucking
Yeah.
died.
She's here. Well, I think the best case scenario is the fact that you think about the fact that she's not going to be around forever. In the best case scenario, helps you to be as fully present and enjoy her company as much as you can here now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's what it does for you, and you're striking the balance between that and knowing she isn't going to be around forever. And when it comes, you know, if she passes away before you, which she most likely will, you don't want to be caught off guard. That's the Stoic side of it. Is you know, I think it's Epictetus says, like, you should never have something happen and you go, I wasn't prepared for this. Like, that's the whole, and you know, that's a little fucking extreme, but that's the whole meditating on the worst case scenario is a Latin phrase for it, premeditatio memoriam, which is think of the worst thing that could happen and then meditate on it, be ready for it, and then 99% of the time it's not going to happen. And then you can be like, oh shit, well, I was ready for, you know, to fucking die or some sort of terrible tragedy, and I got through it without that, so I'm doing good. And in the case where it does happen, because you already meditated on it, you just go, well, this is exactly what I prepared for. So, you know, I'm not going to be caught off guard, even though it's terrible and tragic. I'm going to find a way to handle business because that's my job, you know, as a man or as whatever. So, yeah, man, I think that...
I don't know if this is the best analogy. I just thought of it now. It's kind of like, you know, we just hike, take a little shower, you feel refreshed and clean, and it's kind of the same with your thoughts, right? It kind of builds up, and then take a little shower, take a little time to kind of clean that up. Yeah. And now you're ready, but you're going to need to explore that.
You're going to have to pick them back up
soon.
Yeah.
Almost like a shot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're not
just
going to
like
go.
We're going to have to go.
You're not going to go long.
Soon.
Yeah, you're not going to go much. You're not going to go long without.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning yourself up, and you know, metaphorically and physically, right? But it's just stuff that I feel like you have to do, and I guess that kind of goes back around to your question. Your original question is, what meaning do I give to life? And it's this is something else that you and me, I think, talk about a lot, and we agree on, and we, you know, one of the reasons we're really good friends is the idea of that we live this life not necessarily for yourself, but for the service of others. I don't know if that's I don't know, just to not selfishly live your life. I don't know, like I think about it is like most of the things I do, and we joke about it, or we laugh because I'm gonna do this just so I can do this, this, and this, and none of them really are for me, but they are, right? To do these for others is for me, and that's how I want to live my life. Yeah. And that's while I serve out my sentence, right? While I do my bid and do my time here. Yeah. That's how I feel like I want to spend my life is to help others. I don't know, to be a positive force.
Yeah, no, I think that it is a reason why we click and relate. We're relatively younger. I mean, I'm not so much anymore, 33, but we basically from the beginning, since we met each other, we were like, we're not out there doing this all for ourselves. You know, the meaning we find in life is to help other people. I mean, we're not completely selfless. You know, we went on that hike today because we needed to do it. But in the bigger picture, you know, we needed to do it for ourselves so we can continue to handle business and provide
for others.
And, you know, like you said, we joke about it often, like, I'm going to do this, and that, this whole long string of things. And you could step back and selfishly say, well, what am I getting out of this? But, right? That's some bullshit, because what we're getting out of it is meaning. A meaningful life, a life where we're, you know, not providing for like the less fortunate. Just we're participating in a bigger family, right? In a bigger piece, and instead of all of the grind of life, of hard work, of sacrifice, of waking up early, of doing the shit you don't want to do, of being out in the cold, being out in the rain, leading to some big fancy car or some new shoes or whatever, like that's so weak, that's so empty.
Yeah, about that, we since we saw that, we again, and then in our talks we said it before, the vent, right?
The vent,
is
yeah.
we all have it, we all do it. It's, you know, the days where we're, hey man, you're supposed to be a positive person and help serve others and live unselfishly, but there's times where, you know, where you
just fucking let it out,
where you are upset with somebody, some relationship you have, or your significant other, or your children, or a coworker, or I don't know, somebody in traffic. You get upset with, I don't know, somebody cutting you off in traffic. That's not, you know, it's funny because you talk about it now, and it
seems funny from
here. It seems funny
but
from
when
here.
you're in it,
yeah, and then there's times when you're in it, and if you're not careful, you know, you could get sucked into that, and there's times that we all do it. We're allowed, right, the mistake and that experience, right, and it's like a little vent where that all has to come out. And then we use in our talks we use the word junk food, right? Where we talk about just basically McDonald's for the mind, right? It's just junk food, dude. It's just
gossip, just fucking,
just straight. Yeah.
Did you hear what so and so did?
Yeah. Just gossip and bullshit. And I'm doing this, and you laugh at me when I say, remember when I said cash out refi and all this stuff? Like, that's all necessarily junk food, but it's talk it's, you know, on the action figure level. Yeah. You know, and just that type of stuff. So we all do it, but to be aware, at least. That's exactly when you said junk food. Talking about junk food isn't necessarily bad, but it's very cool to be aware of it, because I would argue most people aren't. Most people start talking about shit that is junk food, but they believe it's the main course, right? Because it's just, did you hear what so-and-so did? And they dive right into it. So just having a little bit of space to be like, hey man, this is kind of junk food, but you want to hear about what happened to whatever. Like, just that little bit of space allows a framing that you can talk about some shit that's not the most important or the most deepest, but you can also just fucking get it out of you, because sometimes you can just get it off you, right? Because sometimes up here it can fester and fucking cause some problems. So yeah, man, letting out the vent, letting out that junk food, having a little bit of awareness is a big shake it all just off. Shake it off. Get off. All right, let's get into some shit. And then eventually, damn near every one of our conversations, if we talk long enough, it'll get into the good stuff. Stoic Buddhist stuff. Some good Stoic stuff. Buddhist shit. So good stuff. The awareness of stuff. Man. I think hopefully that answered. I did actually. That did it justice. Very well. Did it good justice. You did good today, man. You're getting better at this podcasting thing. You feel it? I feel like you're getting better at this shit. Yeah, just talking, man. Yeah. So thank you for being here, helping me warm up. I'm ready for the big show tomorrow. This was a good one too. This is worthy of a listen. So thank you to everybody that hung out for it. Honored it's the one before. Yeah. A big one. It is a big one. We don't need to front, you know, it is a big one. It is. This is something I've been wanting, dreaming about for. I've been a fan of his since. I mean, you've known about him much longer than I've known you, and that's crazy. I think the midnight gospel did it for me. Yeah. Him, and then the podcast he has, some of his talks on his Family Hour podcast, and then Joe Rogan, of course, right? And then those are always good. Watch those. I mean, I remember the first time I listened to that, I was on my way to taking the kids to Universal Studios, and they were asleep. And then I just put it on with my girl. And that's so cool, because I've listened to so much Duncan Trussell on Highway 5. Yeah, on the 5, all of that. Yeah, because I used to listen to it driving to Bakersfield for a year straight. A lot of Duncan Trussell. Yeah, good luck tomorrow, man. I'm glad. Thanks, man. I can be the one right before. Yeah, dude, I couldn't be anybody else. I mean, you're the partner in this podcast. And now I'm happy, and I don't think anything else can go wrong in my life. Yeah, be happy.
Once I podcast with Duncan Trussell, it'll all be
then-
fucking great from here.
Then you'll be happy.
Then I'll be happy for good,
Yeah.
finally, and it won't go away.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, if this doesn't do it, nothing will.
I don't know.
Namaste, buddy.
Mhm.
Good shit.